Two Geeks, Two Beers, episode 82, Home Alone.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Hello and Merry Christmas, one and all, and welcome to episode something or other, we never remember the episode numbers anymore, of Two Geeks, Two Beers with me, Tom, and my festive friend, Morgan.
Hello. To be fair, it's because we've been in lockdown and pre-recording a lot of episodes ahead of time, to the extent we've now totally forgotten which episode number we're on. So it's a good thing, really. Plus the beer. Well, as we record this, it has, been a very odd and at times difficult year. And we're recording this in early November, so we have no idea what our Christmases look like. We hope we're going to go home to see our families and whatnot, but who knows? But we hope that as you listen to this, everything's okay and as merry as possible. And we hope that if nothing else, the next hour or so will give you a little giggle. And from us personally, I'm speaking on behalf of you here, but we've really enjoyed recording these this year. If anything, we've been far more productive this year than we ever have. We've produced far more episodes than usual, but we do miss doing it in person. We've only seen each other once since March. But thank you very much for all of you who have listened over the year and in previous years. Always means a lot. And please do get in touch in any way you like, which we'll bang on about at the end of the episode. I thought you were going to thank me then. I thought you were going to say, I've only seen you once this year, but you know what? Thanks so much, Morgan, for being my co-host. No, you're just thanking the listeners, which, also valid. Yeah.
But look, it's weird with us two because we see each other over, virtually on average once a week, once every 2 weeks. So it doesn't feel like we've not seen each other, but at the same time, it's not the same, is it? So, hopefully in next year things will change, and hopefully they will keep up the amount, because it's been good, having far more than one a month. So,
I'm sure our listeners share that sentiment. They're like, yeah, it's fine, but it's not the same, is it? Come on, guys.
But anyway, so for this Christmas special episode, I've taken a film and a franchise that has become a Christmas institution for the past 30 years. Home Alone. So, thoughts, first of all, on Home Alone?
My first thought is that no one's ever said it like that before.
Alone.
That classic film, Home Alone. No one ever says it like that.
Die hard.
Groundhog Day. It's a Wonderful Life. Home Alone. Great, love it. It's a classic Christmassy movie. But it's interesting you refer to it as a franchise, because Home Alone, great. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. I know it has its supporters and its detractors. I quite like it. Donald Trump cameo aside. I have never seen, nor do I have any intention of seeing, any of the so-called sequels. Which I don't know if you're going to get into those or not, but
oh yes,
but I love the first one. And do you know what I realized the other day is that the last time I watched Home Alone is that it's a complete rip-off of Skyfall. So
yeah, I remember watching Skyfall at the time and just thinking, hang on, they just went really weird in the last quarter, didn't they? They just sort of went, okay, let's just go full Kevin McAllister. But anyway, so I can't quite believe that Home Alone actually celebrates its 30th anniversary this year. I would have been 4 years old when this came out, as would you, or a little bit younger.
3 or 4.
Yeah, and I think I didn't see it for the first time until I was about 12, I think. So, relatively late in the day, but it has become a Christmas favourite of mine. Has all the hallmarks of a brilliant Christmas film. I've got comedy, got capers, bit of danger in there, and a lot of heart as well. And I think you could sort of call this the kids' version of Die Hard in many respects. It just it's obviously set at Christmas, and they got the bad guys and all that.
When you think of staples of classic Christmas movies, I don't often think of Danger, if I'm honest. It's got all the tropes of a classic festive film: laughs, love, danger.
Look, what's your favourite Christmas film of all time?
Die Hard.
Yeah, see? There you go.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Not all Christmas movies, but I think all the great Christmas movies, all the truly great ones, all the real classics, little bit of danger in there. That's what I want. Well, I mean, this year, potentially, we're all going to have a very dangerous Christmas. So perfect.
Are you telling me that Jack Frost is not one of your favourite Christmas films of all time? And I don't even mean the Michael Keaton version.
I mean, I've never even seen the horror comedy Jack Frost, but given everything we said about it in a previous episode,
yeah,
I'm going to safely say no, even without having seen it.
Well, in case you don't know, the first film follows Kevin, played by Macaulay Culkin, an 8-year-old boy who must defend his home from two burglars, Harry and Marv, after his family accidentally leaves him behind on their Christmas vacation.
They leave him
home alone.
It's
a classic example as well of a film that just wouldn't work if you made it today, because it just smartphones, Google, all that kind of, it just wouldn't work, would it? You'd have to set it in the 90s.
Even then, they sort of went to some lengths. Wasn't it like, the phone lines are down for some reason?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second one's even worse, to be honest, but there you go. So Home Alone premiered on November 10th, directed by Chris Columbus and written by John Hughes, so quite a powerhouse team. Would you like a trailer?
Yes. What a Christmas present for me.
When the McAllister family left on their Christmas vacation...
Did we miss the flight? No, you just made it. Yeah!
They forgot one small thing.
Have yourself...
I have a terrible feeling.
Christmas.
Did you lock up?
Let yourself be light.
Do we set the timers on the lights?
Mm-hmm. What else could we be forgetting?
Our troubles will be ours.
Kevin!
Home Alone.
Police in the northern suburbs are on the lookout for a pair of burglars who are calling themselves the Wet Bandits.
We know that you're in there.
It's Santa Claus. And it's Elf.
Get off my property.
This is my house. I have to defend it.
Where's your mother?
My mom's in the car.
Where's your father?
He's at work.
What about your brothers and sisters?
I'm an only child.
Where do you live?
Can't tell you that.
Why not?
Because you're a stranger.
He's a kid. I mean, what can a kid do to us?
Kids are stupid. I know I was.
You still are, Marv.
This is it.
I don't care if I have to get out on your runway and hitchhike. I am going to get home to my son.
Yes! Where are you, you little creep? I'm gonna kill that kid! Why'd you take your shoes off? Why are you dressed like a chicken?
Gus Polinski, Polka King of the Midwest. If you have to get to Chicago, we'll gladly drive you.
Hey, guys.
Yesterday, he was just a kid. But tonight, he's a home security system.
You guys give up, or you're thirsty for more?
From John Hughes.
I got a feeling this is going to be your best Christmas ever.
A family comedy without the family. Home Alone.
Are you here all alone?
I'm 8 years old. You think I'd be here alone? I don't think so.
Directed by Chris Columbus, coming November 16th.
Well, I have to apologise, Tom, because
He's going to take us back now.
Not once, but twice does the voiceover man on that trailer refer to it as Home Alone. We've all been saying Home Alone wrong all these years.
Yeah, see? So, a basic run. I've written here a basic run through the plot, and then I'm just about to do the whole film. So, it's in classic me style when I do these episodes, but by the end you'll be asleep. So, let's do it. So, McAllister family preparing to spend Christmas in Paris. They're all gathering at Kevin's parents' house in Chicago, along with his siblings, his uncle and aunt, and their kids. So generally speaking, while, Kevin is a little bit of a shit himself, he is a little bit of a brat, but it's understandable because the entirety of his family are total pricks. I his dad's all right. He's just a bit. He doesn't really have a clue what's going on. He's okay.
A bit wet.
And his mum tries her best, but she doesn't exactly help matters with her decision making. And but then his brother Buzz is a total douche.
Buzz is awful.
And the ultimate movie bully character. He's like a mini Biff Tannen.
Buzz, don't you know how to knock phlegm wad?
Can I sleep in your room? I don't want to sleep on the hide bed with Fuller. If you have something to drink, he'll wet the bed.
I wouldn't let you sleep in my room if you were growing on my ass.
And then his other siblings are dicks, and his uncle's an absolute prick. And it's just I don't blame him for wanting to be on his own, and they do that on purpose. So obviously that's why he wants to be on his own.
And to be honest, it's probably at the root of his violent tendencies that later emerge throughout the film.
Yeah, and I feel like that trailer just kind of gave away the entire. It's like knowing the movie as well as we do. I feel like that was the entire plot from start to finish in one little mini trailer. But I guess that's. I mean, that's what they do now, isn't it?
If the trailer didn't ruin the film's plot, you're about to. So. Great.
Well, it's actually been a talking point on social media over the past few years, trying to work out, the family tree of the McAllisters and Kevin's cousins, because there's so many of them, and it's never really explained properly, apart from Buzz. It's never really obvious, and even Buzz, it's not obvious that it's his brother. It's never really unless you're really paying attention, it's not obvious who belongs to who. So in case you want to know, not that we don't have photos of these kids, it's pointless, but you can look it up.
Here's a list of names and a list of ways in which these names are related to each other.
Look,
great
content.
There'll
be someone out there who finds this interesting. So, Kevin is the son of Peter and Kate, and his siblings are Buzz, Megan, Linny, and Jeff. And then you've got Uncle Frank and Aunt Leslie, and their children are Tracy, Rod, Sondra, Brooke, and Fuller. And then there's Uncle Rob and Georgette, who are in Paris. That's who they're going to see. And their children, Heather, and then 3 other unnamed kids who are just in the background. So there you go. Sorted. Fine. But also, what the hell do Kevin's parents do to have a house that big? It's huge. It's humongous. It's ridiculous. Well, according to the official novelization of the film, which came out at the time, written by Todd Strasser, was a quick promotional tie-in, reveals that Peter McAllister is a prominent businessman / day trader, and Kate McAllister is a fashion designer, which explains all the mannequins that Kevin uses in the party scenes and later. So that interested me. I don't know about you.
Well, I do find that interesting. I don't know if that's Home Alone canon, but
yeah, I'm going to say
what I like about that is you called it a cheap, quick promotional tie-in. That author there, he's done a good job. He's paid attention to the little nuances. He's gone, what's with them mannequins? And he's created. And he's created more backstory, and I would go so far as to say he's given the Home Alone story more substance and more nuance than it may have originally had on the silver screen.
Exactly, that's what an official tie-in novel does. You see, it's like all the lost encyclopedia. You need it afterwards. So on the night before their departure, Peter and Kate's younger son, Kevin, subject to ridicule by his older siblings, and he accidentally ruins the family dinner and their flight tickets to Paris after a fight with Buzz. And again, that's something that was picked out by fans in recent years, because it's not an obvious moment when he's made a big mess because he's pushed Buzz and there's drinks go everywhere. And then I think it's the dad picks up a load of stuff, and in it includes Kevin's tickets. You can see it in the bin. It's not an obvious shot. It's not like it zooms in on it, obviously, but it's just sort of there. And if you pause it, you can see it. So that's why when they count the tickets later, Kevin's ticket isn't there. So then they don't realise they're missing anything. So
yeah, that makes sense. They did his ticket. His ticket was lost, so they didn't realise they were missing a child. Of course.
Maybe they should have. I guess that's why they had the uncle and aunt there as well with all their kids. So there's a lot of kids. And the reason they do a head count, and there's this little kid from down the street who was just hanging around, and that's why they do a head count. And they thought that was Kevin and it was someone else. But maybe they should have been cheaper by the dozen type thing and just had ridiculous amount of children, then it would have been more believable. And as you say, during the night, heavy wind damage to the power lines, causing a power outage, and resets all the alarm clocks, causing the family to oversleep. In the confusion and rush to the airport, Kevin is accidentally left behind because he was banished up into the attic to think about what he did.
I mean, maybe they wouldn't have abandoned their child if they hadn't already locked him in the attic. I feel like there's maybe
I don't know if they locked him in the attic.
I mean, they made him sleep in the attic. I feel like there's patterns of behaviour that are emerging here. It's a lot of the time this is played off as a one-off, humorous incident that they forgot their child. I think there was a long history of abuse that goes that goes way beyond this one incident that we see in the movie Home Alone.
So Kevin wakes up to find the house empty and, thinking that his wish for his family to disappear came true, is overjoyed with his newfound freedom.
I made my family disappear.
Kevin, you're completely helpless.
No, Kevin, you're what the French call les incompétents.
Kevin, I'm going to feed you to my tarantula.
Kevin, you are such a disease.
There are 15 people in this house, and you're the only one who has to make trouble.
Look what you did, you little jerk.
I made my family disappear.
However, he soon becomes frightened by his next-door neighbour, Old Man Marley, who was rumoured to be a serial killer who murdered his own family, as well as the... do you remember him? Do you remember that?
Yeah, just needlessly dark, that.
Yeah, really, yeah.
You're right. This film does have a dash of danger.
See?
It really does.
As well as the Wet Bandits, Harry and Marv, a pair of burglars who have been breaking into other vacant houses in the neighbourhood and have targeted the McAllister's house. So Kate realises mid-flight that Kevin was left behind, and upon arrival in Paris, the family discovers that all flights for the next 2 days are booked. Peter and the rest of the family stay with his brother Rob's apartment in Paris, while Kate manages to get a flight back to the US, but only gets as far as Scranton. This is where we have a truly brilliant cameo appearance from John Candy as Gus, the lead member of a travelling polka band who helps her travel with them to Chicago. And any excuse to watch a little bit of John Candy is fine by me.
Scranton, Pennsylvania. My geography knowledge is shocking, but I know that because of the office, US office. So
yeah, absolutely.
Couldn't help but hearing you got a little bit of a dilemma there. We got a crisis ourselves. Allow me to introduce myself. Gus Polinski. How are you? Polka King of the Midwest. The Kenosha Kickers.
Hi there. How are you?
No? That's okay. I thought you might have recognized it. Anyways, I had a few hits a few years ago. That's why just polka, 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 polka. No? Twin Lakes Polka, Damavuji Polka, a.k.a. Kiss Me Polka, Polka Twist.
Well, these are songs.
Yeah, some fairly big hits for us, in the early 70s, Yeah, we sold about 623 copies of that.
In Chicago?
No, Sheboygan. Very big in Sheboygan. They loved it,
I'm sorry, did you say you could help me?
Anyway, I'm rambling on here. Our flight was canceled, so we gotta drive. So, see the guy in the yellow jacket over there by the budget sign? He's gonna rent us a nice big van, and we're gonna drive to Milwaukee. Now, I heard you had some problems. You're getting to Chicago to see your kid or something?
My son, we left and he's there.
Oh, jeez. If you have to get to Chicago, we'll gladly drive you. It's on the way to Milwaukee.
You'd give me a ride?
Sure we will. Why not? You gotta get home and see your kid.
A ride to Chicago?
Sure, it's Christmas time.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
You don't mind going with some polka bums?
No, I'd love to.
There's something about John Candy that just the very sight of John Candy fills me with happiness.
Yeah, he's just brilliant, isn't he? Yeah.
If you're in a bad mood, you just see John Candy's face. You just filled with memories of Home Alone and Cool Runnings and Planes, Trains and Automobiles, and you immediately just feel like, yes, feel great.
Yeah, died age 43 in 1994. That long ago. It doesn't feel like that long ago. But yeah, Cool Runnings is one of my all-time favourites. Maybe we'll do a Cool Runnings episode next Christmas.
There's a lot of snow in it. Human Prozac, John Candy.
Yeah. Also in that scene, obviously we can't. You need to go and find it. You know the scene. If you've seen Home Alone, you know what we're talking about. But there's to the right of Kate, next to John Candy, there's a bloke who's standing there, and he's got a beard. And he's just he doesn't say a line or anything. He's just there, and loads of people point it out. Go, hang on, is that Elvis? And he looks just like what Elvis Presley would have looked like in 1990 if he if he was still alive. And it's uncanny. It is crazy how all these sightings over the years of Elvis. This is my favourite.
Beard aside, yeah, he kind of also looks like Richard Karn from Home Improvement, but. So it's either definitely Elvis back from the dead, or Richard Karn, Tim Allen's co-star from the 90s sitcom Home Improvement.
But the idea that Elvis faked his own death and then went, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be like a bit part, like walking part in the background of Home Alone. Why not?
Yeah. Just
no one will believe it.
Just to mess people around. They go like, well, if Elvis did go to all that effort to fake his death, like. It's quite clever, really, because if you were going to fake your death, you'd think of like a really, because the trouble is people are always like, oh, he got washed away at sea and things like that,
yeah.
Really like cool sounding ways. Elvis he pretty much like shit himself to death on the toilet, right? And so I was going, well, no one would fake that because it's so embarrassing. And he's like, yeah, that's exactly what I thought you would think. And then like. It's like, well, it can't be Elvis because, again, if he was trying to hide the fact that he was still alive, he would not appear in the background of a scene in one of the biggest films of all time. And he's like, yeah, you're falling for all my tricks, like that. He's like, he's quite.
That was half James Stewart, half Elvis Presley.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time.
It's not Christmas unless we have a James Stewart impression, is it?
Christmas would have been Christmas without James Stewart impression. 'Tis the season for me doing my terrible James Stewart impression.
Anyway, so on Christmas Eve, Kevin overhears that the Wet Bandits are discussing their plans to break into his house that night. And this is when he's also starting to miss his family. And he asks the local Santa Claus impersonator if he could bring his family back for Christmas. And that is one of my all-time favourite scenes ever. And I did bring it up in the Ranking the Santas episode. So go back to hear that. So he goes to church and watches a choir perform. And he meets Old Man Marley, who dispels all the rumours about him. And I'd say this is truly one of the most heartwarming scenes in recent-ish cinema history.
You want to know the real reason why I'm here right now?
Sure.
I came to hear my granddaughter sing. And I can't come and hear her tonight.
You have plans?
No. I'm not welcome.
At church?
Oh, you're always welcome at church. I'm not welcome with my son. Years back, before you and your family moved on the block, I had an argument with my son.
How old is he?
Well, he's grown up. We lost our tempers, and I said I didn't care to see him anymore. He said the same. We haven't spoken to each other since.
If you miss him, why don't you call him?
I'm afraid if I call him, he won't talk to me.
How do you know?
I don't know. I'm just afraid he won't.
No offense, but aren't you a little old to be afraid?
You can be a little old for a lot of things. You're never too old to be afraid.
That's true. I've always been afraid of our basement. It's dark, there's weird stuff down there, and it smells funny, that sort of thing. It's bothered me for years.
The basements are like that.
Then I made myself go down there to do some laundry, and I found out it's not so bad. All this time I've been worrying about it, but if you turn on the lights, it's no big deal.
What's your point?
My point is, you should call your son.
Bloody lovely, that. And that's the first time I heard Carol of the Bells in my life. So thank you for that as well. Kevin returns home and rigs the house with booby traps to take on the burglars. Now, what's interesting about this film is like it doesn't like at any point set up the fact that he's like a kid genius or anything. Like it's not like he's got a reason to be amazing at setting up all these traps. It just is. It's like in Jurassic Park 3 when Jeff Goldblum's daughter comes along, and earlier in the film she kept banging on about her gymnastics stuff, and at the last minute she does like a whatever you call it and knocks out a velociraptor. It's like, oh right, that's why they brought that up. None of that in this, but you know, he's just a genius.
By the way, that's Jurassic Park 2. Jurassic Park 3...
Oh, yeah, it was 2. You're right, yeah.
Yeah, 3 is the one where the Velociraptor says, Alan, that's how you... yeah. That's how you tell them apart. Yeah.
Oh, dear. Where am I? Oh, yeah. Kevin returns home, rigs the house with booby traps to take on the burglars. So Harry and Marv break in, spring the traps, suffer various injuries. It's all quite... Like, if they actually... had what happened to them in real life, I think they wouldn't make it through the night, is all I'm saying.
I wonder, and someone must have worked this out, how many times he would have murdered the Wet Bandit across. I pretty much, I'd say it's at least like 12 times they probably would have sustained injuries that would have resulted, or almost certainly resulted in death. And you say there's no, backstory as to why he's some incredible torture artist. But I think I think he had to evolve. He had to become that to survive. It sounds like he had a horrible childhood.
Well, if you've got Buzz as your brother, that's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah.
And of all of the traps, the worst one for me is the one where Marv steps on the nail coming out of the floor. Like, to this day, it's so well done. He just sort of goes, he just sort of slowly inserts himself onto it, and then the pause before he realizing what he's done, and then screams. It's very, very fun.
We're not gonna hurt you.
No. Got some nice presents for you.
Be a good little fella now and open the door.
Shoot! What? 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 What happened?
Get that little...
That and stepping on like the broken Christmas baubles.
Like,
which again, shades of Die Hard.
Yeah.
With the broken glass in Nakatomi Plaza again.
Yeah.
Little bit of danger. Little bit of walking on broken glass. It's what we love in our Christmas movies, and our Annie Lennox songs.
Absolutely. Well, eventually Kevin, with the help of Marley, takes down the Wet Bandits, and they get arrested for breaking into various homes. And on Christmas Day, Kevin is reunited with Kate. They reconcile, and then they are soon joined. It says here, soon joined, like literally seconds later, joined by his dad and the rest of the family who waited in Paris, and then he got a direct flight to Chicago. Why don't you tell her? Like, imagine being her. You spent like days getting home, and then you finally get back, and then like 10 seconds later, everyone else turns up. You're like, oh, fuck. So anyway, that's the main plot of the film. So I went through it relatively quickly for me. That wasn't too bad.
For you, that was
too painful.
That was very good.
So going through the main cast, obviously Macaulay Culkin became an international superstar from this film. For a few years, he was one of the biggest film stars around.
But then he became less famous when he became a bigger film star, and they literally couldn't have
Very
it.
True. Very true. When he did Richie Rich, that didn't really do it for him, did it?
And the Page Master, which was he was really like on the brink of puberty in that one. To the extent, I think they had to have people like stand on like platforms and stuff to make him look smaller.
Yeah, like the opposite of Tom Cruise, essentially. So he had been in a few films before this, including Uncle Buck, which was also written and directed by John Hughes, and obviously starring John Candy as well. And Hughes actually suggested to Columbus that they cast Macaulay Culkin in the main role because of his experience with him in Uncle Buck. And then Columbus met with other actors for the part. By his count, hundreds and hundreds, as he felt it was his directorial pre-responsibility. I've written pre-responsibility.
That's not
responsibility.
A word. It's like just plain old responsibility. It's
no, pre-responsibility. For a second, I thought, is that like a movie term? Is that like a thing they do?
Of course. I think maybe Christopher Columbus wasn't all that smart, and he just, as you tend to do sometimes, make up a word. And he was like, I see what you're saying about casting Culkin, but I feel like it's my responsibility here to hire the lead. I really do feel like I'm responsible for that.
Responsible. Oh, very funny. Columbus met with Culkin and agreed he was the right choice for the role. Macaulay Culkin actually took a break from acting in as early as 1994, and he didn't make his return until 2003 with a guest appearance in Will and Grace. But then, even since then, he's not really done much until very recently. In 2013, he co-founded the New York-based pizza-themed comedy rock band, the Pizza Underground, of which he was the singer. Very niche. You think we're niche? That's the ultimate niche, isn't it, really?
But do you know what else Macaulay Culkin did?
What?
Dated Mila Kunis. So...
He did. Yeah, he did. Yeah. I love that story that Russell Brand told. Do you remember that? Where he was like, when he was in, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, and he obviously meets Mila Kunis on set, and then she keeps talking about her boyfriend, Mac. And he's like, who's Mac? Who's this guy? And then she finally introduces him. He's like, that's Macaulay Culkin. You can't just introduce me as Mac. It's Macaulay Culkin. Very funny. Anyway, he was also, he's currently the publisher and CEO of satirical pop culture website and podcast called Bunny Ears. But he also starred in a brilliant advert for Google Assistant in December 2018, which reprised his role of Kevin after 28 years, and it recreated scenes from Home Alone while he asked Google Assistant to set reminders for him. So sort of like what we said earlier, how Home Alone wouldn't work now. It was like updating it, and it was really, really good. It was a really genuinely great advert. It worked really well, and it was great to see him do it and actually acting, and he was great in it. But he's actually coming back as well. Because earlier this year, he was cast in the next series, American Horror Story. Was that already happened? Has that already happened?
No. It probably should have already happened, but
yeah, that's probably what it is. Yeah. It's like that was February. I feel like that should have happened by now, but that's why. Maybe we'll see the Culkin Renaissance in 2021.
The Culconaissance.
Yeah, exactly.
The Macaulay
That's better. That's better. For the role of Harry, one of the Wet Bandits, Robert De Niro and John Lovitz were considered for the role. But after both rejected it, they got the combination of the two, which is
it really is. Like, little bit of Lovitz, little bit of De Niro.
Yeah.
Put those two hands together, you get Pesci.
Yeah. He had already... And Pesci had an amazing year because he also starred in his career-defining role of Goodfellas, also in 1990. So two completely different roles, two completely different films, both in the same year. Obviously, he'd been around for a while, already well-respected. But this year really cemented him as like a cinema great. And
if in 1 year you can be like brilliantly funny in Home Alone and absolutely terrifying in Goodfellas, you're literally like, we made fun of Pesci there. Pesci got range, and he's like, look at all my range, 1990.
Daniel Stern played Marv, the role he's probably best known for, but he's also known. He's done a lot actually. I was surprised. Yeah, so he is also. He played Phil in City Slickers and City Slickers 2. But also, I didn't know this, he was the voice of adult Kevin in The Wonder Years.
Was he?
Yeah, and he was also the voice of Dilbert in the cartoon series Dilbert. So, Like
it's a little more niche.
Yeah, but, done far more than I thought, so good. But actually, before shooting started, Stern was told that the production schedule had been extended from 6 weeks to 8. And after being informed that there was no money in the budget for a pay increase that he wanted due to the extended schedule, he actually dropped out of the role. And Daniel Roebuck, who's now most famous for playing Dr. Arzt in Lost, if you remember him, in the first season, he was quickly hired to replace him. But after 2 days of rehearsal, Chris Columbus didn't see any chemistry between him and Pesci and decided to bring back Stern. So, could have... So I feel like Roebuck is the Home Alone equivalent of what's his name from Back to the Future?
Eric Stoltz.
Eric Stoltz. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Roebuck later said that although he was upset to be fired from the production, he now believes the experience to be such a little blip of unimportance, which is a great quote, but like something tells me that's not quite accurate. But okay,
not bitter at all. He's like, if I'd got that role, I could have been the voice of Dilbert.
Yeah.
I could have starred in not just City Slickers, but also City Slickers 2.
Little do they know that in 14 years he'd blown up with a load of dynamite and Lost after being in about 5 episodes. And fan favourite asked. John Hurd played Peter. He's probably one of the greatest that guy actors of all time, isn't he, John Hurd? Like he's just sort of pops up in loads of films of that era, like Beaches, My Fellow Americans, Big. He was also in The Sopranos for a bit. Sadly died of a heart attack in 2017 at the age of 71. But he's not in the film much, but in the scenes he's in, he's really, really great. And then you got Catherine O'Hara, who still looks exactly the same as she did then.
Exactly the same. Like
she was only 36 at the time of Home Alone, Catherine O'Hara. So we're nearly her age. She had already appeared in Beetlejuice again a couple of years before, but has been busy ever since, and most recently winning lots of plaudits for a role in Schitt's Creek, which I have to admit I've never seen, but I hear good things. Great name, Roberts Blossom played Marley, not Robert Blossom, Roberts Blossom. He was a great character actor and poet, and he also had roles in Deranged, the original the 1974 version of The Great Gatsby, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Escape from Alcatraz, and The Last Temptation of Christ. But I'd say this is probably his most famous role. And he died in 2011, aged 87.
And his first name was Roberts.
Yes.
And that's definitely not just another of your typos.
No, it's not a typo. It's his actual name. For once,
okay, because I do feel like we have a responsibility to get these things right.
So presumptuous, so ridiculous. The role of Uncle Frank was originally given to. It was actually written rather for Kelsey Grammer, but was given to Jerry Baman when Grammer was unavailable. But I feel like Grammer would have been totally underused in that role because he's not in it much. Maybe if Grammer, because apparently I think they were going to have more scenes set in Paris, so maybe if Grammer was in it, they would have had far more of Uncle Frank. And Baman is really good in it, but I'd love it if it was Kelsey Grammer.
Well, I bet Grammer feels stupid now. Like, I bet he wishes he'd been at home alone. I bet he feels like he's got egg on his face, like scrambled egg all over his face.
I've forgotten the line. How does it end? Seattle, we love you, or something like that.
Santa, we love you.
Seattle.
I thought you were just being festive. Yeah, it's good night, Seattle, we love you.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Devon Rattray.
What I like about it, totally like off topic, but what I like about the Frasier theme song is that they were like, right, Kelsey, we're going to do this spin-off from Cheers. Okay, great. Yes. Yeah. It's about your character, Frasier Crane. And he's like, yeah, great. I'm totally on board. This sounds great. And we're going to focus more on his family. And we're going to take him to Seattle, and he's going to have a radio show, and we're going to meet his brother and his dad.
Sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds great. I do have one request, which is that I get to sing the theme song, and it's like this weird sort of scat jazz number, and they're like, okay, I guess doesn't really fit with what we were going for, but we like, you are Frasier, we literally need you to do this. So, and he's like, great, like what? But fine.
Devon Rattray played Buzz, and he does still act from time to time. He's just in things all the time.
He was in HBO's Mosaic recently, a few years back, written by Ed Solomon, who we had on the podcast recently. Yes, he made a guest appearance on a certain podcast recently. You should go back and it's our podcast, in case I'm not being
full disclosure.
Yeah.
And he was also most recently, Devon Rattray, he was a minor character in the film Hustlers, which got lots of great reviews. Macaulay Culkin's younger brother, Kieran, played Fuller. He's his cousin who always pissed himself. And Kieran he's just been in work constantly, really, in the last 10, 20 years, and he's been all sorts. As I say, John Candy was only available for one day to film his scenes, which took 23 hours to shoot. He was paid $414 since he did the film as a favour to Hughes. In return, he was the only actor Hughes allowed to go off script. So according to Columbus, all of his dialogue was improvised. So he just sort of let him be John Candy for a day.
He's like, how much you paying me? About $400? Okay, I will do it. I will sort of do it in the sense that I will be there on set, but I will not read any of these lines. So I will turn up, but then I will just do whatever the fuck I want for the duration.
for the duration. So the conception of Home Alone came from a personal dilemma that John Hughes had faced. Hughes said that
if I had a really shitty kid, would I pretend that I'd forgotten about him and leave him?
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. He goes, I was going away on vacation and making a list of everything I didn't want to forget. I thought, well, I'd better not forget my kids. Then I thought, what if I left my 10-year-old son at home? What would he do? There you go.
And he thought his 10-year-old son would wreak fucking havoc. That's what he thought.
Hughes then wrote 8 pages of notes that developed into the screenplay of the film. And imagining that children are naturally most scared of robbers, Hughes also worked that aspect into the plot of the film. What were you most scared of as a kid? Was it robbers?
I don't know. Was it robbers? What was I scared of as a kid? What were you scared of as a kid?
I still, to this day, have a little bit weird thing about ghosts. I had it a lot when I was a kid. I think I ghosts, not goats. Yeah, scared of goats. No, ghosts. I just, I remember having this thing of like, I don't know why I'm telling this story. There was this, I had this thing where I'd sort of stayed downstairs, a lot later than the rest of my family, just watching telly or whatever. And I say a kid, I was like 12 at this point. And I'd sort of have this thing of like, when I'd go upstairs, because I turned all the lights out and I was going upstairs, I always had this horrible thing there would be this ghost who'd like chase me up the stairs, and then somebody just smack me on the arse as I did it. So I'd just be like, "Oh, quick, get out!" Otherwise, the ghost.
I like the fact because everyone has that. That's a classic thing. You turn the lights off and then you run up the stairs.
Yeah. I added the arse bit. I don't know why.
Yeah, you didn't think that the ghost would like kill you. You thought
no.
You thought it would.
He's quite a playful ghost, if anything.
Well, he's some kind of sex pest poltergeist.
I want to put it out there, I didn't have any kind of problems of growing up or any kind of incident. I don't know why I thought that, but there you go. Yeah.
But also, Tom and I, like a carry-on ghost.
With the Benny Hill theme.
Yeah. Tom and I used to be flatmates, and Tom swore blind once that you had a spooky encounter.
Honestly, to this day, it should have done this as a Halloween thing, but to this day, it's the only moment that is unexplained. I've since found out what it is. It is something to do with sleep, something, not deprivation, but there's a condition where
apnea,
your heart, something like that. Yeah, I think it's sleep paralysis, something like that. I found a whole subreddit about it and whatever. But until I knew that, I felt genuinely this was like a proper incident. And when it happened, I was like, oh, ghosts exist, because this has happened now. I've been proved it's actually existing. Brilliant. And all it was that
there was a ghost breathing on your neck.
Yeah, I woke up in the morning and I knew I was awake because I was looking at my alarm clock that I knew was going to go off at 7, and I was just staring at it. And there was just an old man's voice to the side of me, breathing heavily, over and over and over again. And it was.
How did you know it was an old man if you couldn't see it?
I could just tell it was that you could just hear from the voice that it was an old man of some description. And it was so real that it wasn't like everything else was just boring. And I was just looking at the alarm clock, waiting for it to come on, terrified, not moving. And then it went to 7 a.m. I saw it move. And then radio, I think it was Radio 2 I had on, Chris Evans or whatever came on. And then it stopped and it finally went away.
And then he slapped you on the ass. And you woke up.
Right on the ass, yeah. But yeah, I think I think that was just a moment of whatever this conditions that I've forgotten is called, sleep paralysis or something like that. But anyway, yeah. Have you ever had any ghost? I don't know why we call them like ghost stories. I've been Home Alone episode, but yeah. Have you worked out what you were scared of as a kid? Or maybe you weren't. Maybe you weren't scared of anything.
I think just the dark. I never been a big fan of the dark, and I've still got a thing now where I always think there's a man in my wardrobe, like. Because you've quite often got like shirts hanging down, and it's like someone could quite easily be in my wardrobe, like I guess like a robber, and he could. So I do, especially if I'm alone in the house. I do like
alone.
Home if I'm home alone. I do before I go to sleep at age 34. Open the wardrobe, part the shirts, just to make sure there's no one crouched in the wardrobe, and then I sleep soundly.
Nice. I do still have a thing about showers, and not really because of Psycho or anything, but I just have this thing of I don't like being under the shower with just because it's the one time where you're kind of your face is obviously like covered in water and you can't see what you're doing, and I just have this image of just once I finally come out and can see there just being something there. And again, it's very Psycho-esque, but again, it didn't really affect me. I only watched that relatively recently, and I've always had this as a thing. So yeah,
and listeners, we've said that everything that's going on in the world right now is why we're recording apart and we're doing this virtually, but actually it's because Tom hasn't showered for years and I didn't have the heart to tell him, but now you brought it up. Like, I can't be in the same room with you.
That's why no one hangs out with me anymore, right? Anyway, that was a bit of a sidebar, wasn't it? So Home Alone was initially set to be financed and distributed by Warner Brothers, and Hughes promised the studio that he could make the movie for no more than $10 million, considerably less than most film production budgets of that era. Concerned that the film might exceed that amount, even minimally, and that Warner would insist on keeping to it, Hughes met secretly with 20th Century Fox before production to see if they would be interested in funding the project if Warner proved as inflexible as the producer feared. And according to executive producer Scott Rosenfeld, a copy of the script was secretly, clandestinely, delivered to Fox. bypassing all the legal restrictions that would have otherwise prevented Fox from seeing it until the project was in turnaround. And early in production, the film's budget grew to $14.7 million, well past the limit Warner had imposed, and the studio demanded that to be cut by $1.2 million. And then producers responded with a memo arguing that the budget could not be cut any further. Unconvinced, Warner shut down production the next day, but it quickly resumed when Fox took up Hughes on the earlier offer, and the final budget ended up growing all the way to $18 million. So bit of luck there.
So wait. So Warner Brothers were paying for the movie.
Yeah, but not very well. Yeah, $10 million they were trying to.
But then he slipped the script to Fox. Yeah. But then he went over budget.
Yeah.
And then Warner were like, right, we're shutting it down.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Then he just sort of carried on with Fox. They just went, oh, do you still want it? And they were like, yeah, go on then. I don't think you get away with that today.
One studio shuts a movie down, the other one just picks it up.
Well, you're not meant to, but I think they kind of, because they secretly gave it to them, and
like mid-shoot.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
It was the it was the 90s, so who knows?
Yeah.
Chris Columbus came on board after he left National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation before shooting started. He left that film because of a personality clash with actor Chevy Chase, who Columbus said treated him like dirt.
I find it hard to believe that someone couldn't get on with Chevy Chase. I mean,
we never hear any bad things about Chevy Chase, do you?
No. So he left that project, and they all laughed at Christopher Columbus, but he made a comeback. They all laughed at Christopher Columbus when he said Chevy Chase was a dick.
Columbus did an uncredited rewrite of the rewrite. That's a hard word to say, isn't it? Columbus did an uncredited rewrite of the script, which included the character Old Man Marley. So he introduced that character. He added the character to give the story a more serious layer as well as a more emotional ending. So well done him.
Do you think he's always like, Christopher Columbus? He's like, Chris. My name's Chris. Oh yeah, Christopher Columbus. Why don't you go find America, Christopher Columbus? And he's like, it's Chris, Chris Columbus.
It's beard for say. There's also the film within a film, Angels with Filthy Souls, the title which parodies the 1938 crime film Angels with Dirty Faces. Paradise, great. To create the illusion that the film was authentic, like a great 1940s gangster film, the scene was filmed on black and white negative, and Johnny's office used authentic items from that era. One of the most famous bits of the film, I guess. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals, and all that. And I thought it was a real film at the time. I just assumed it was as a kid. Got me believing it. Well, a couple of facts. You love a bit of facts, don't you? Let's
I love a bit of
run
facts.
through. Yeah, got a few. Cinematographer Giulio Macat has said that Pesci was more difficult to work with than Culkin. Pesci believed some of the dialogue was not of a quality that matched his acting ability. He also resented the early filming times since they prevented him from starting his day with 9 holes of golf that he preferred to do. After he took the assistant director by the collar one day to complain about this, daily call times were moved back from 7 to 9 a.m. to accommodate his rounds. So I love that. This is before Goodfellas as well. Do you know what I mean? So like,
Yeah, but you gotta fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Pesci was already acting like a major asshole movie star before he even was one. Gotta respect that.
Also, Joe Pesci also deliberately avoided Macaulay Culkin on set because he wanted Culkin to think he was mean. So, I mean, that's what he says. I mean, I don't know if that's
I'm not actually a dick. It's method. I want you to think I'm a dick.
The picture Kevin finds of Buzz's girlfriend was actually a picture of a boy made up to look like a girl because director Chris Columbus thought it would be too cruel to make fun of a girl like that. The boy that was used in the photo was art director Dan Webster's son, just in pigtails.
So yeah, I like. He's like, right, okay, we can't have a photo of a girl because that would be cruel. So what we'll do is we'll dress up a boy in pigtails and make fun of him.
What's your son doing?
We'll make fun of him instead. Brilliant.
Yeah. John Williams stepped in when the original composer backed out, and the filmmakers never thought they could get him, but he saw an early cut of the movie and was enchanted, says here. John Williams was enchanted. And it was a huge success with a total gross of $476 million, which is huge. for a 1990 film. And it held the record for the highest grossing live action comedy ever until it was overtaken by The Hangover Part 2 in 2011. And it was also the third highest grossing film ever at the time. I didn't realise just how big Home Alone was in 1990. Of course, what soon followed was the sequel, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, in 1992. Now, I have to say, I had never seen this film until a couple of days ago. Would you believe? I know, which is weird because I love the original, but for whatever reason, I just never got round to seeing it. I was just always a bit like, nah, can't be bothered. Just never saw it.
Weirdly, I think I've seen it more time than the first one. It just always seemed to be on TV at Christmas, even more so than the first movie, just on all the time. And so I have a soft spot for it.
Well, that's the thing, because like seeing any film like this for the first time as an adult is always strange.
Yeah.
But having loved the original, it wasn't too bad. My main gripe is that it's exactly the same as the first film. Like every single scene, particularly at the beginning, is almost shot for shot. Like it's almost, I don't know. It's just like everything down to the music, the choreography, even little things like they replaced Old Man Marley with the Pigeon Lady. It's the same thing. It's exactly the same film. But you love the first one, so it's like, well, come back for more of the same, please. I mean, it's a bit stupid that Harry and Marv just happened to have escaped and just happened to have landed in New York where Kevin just happens to be, but all right, fine.
Guess who's alone in New York this Christmas?
Don't you know a kid always wins against two idiots?
You gotta do better than this, kid!
Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Another Christmas in the trenches.
I won't go into as much detail as the first, but it was also written and produced by John Hughes and directed by Chris Columbus. So at least it still has that essence of the first one, as it's the same people involved. And it follows Kevin, now 10, who once again must fend off Harry and Marv after he is mistakenly separated from his family on their Christmas vacation. This time, he accidentally gets on the wrong flight, and the newly escaped Harry and Marv just happened to be in New York as well.
Yeah, and once is a mistake, twice is a pattern.
No responsibility at all by these parents.
I would say they're very pre-responsible.
But there are some great appearances. Tim Curry is fantastic as a hotel concierge. Brenda Fricker plays the Pigeon Lady really well. Eddie Bracken is great as the toy shop owner, and a young Rob Schneider as a hotel employee working with Tim Curry. And of course, as you did mention, a cameo from a certain Donald Trump in the foyer scene. Back when people sort of quite liked, well, most people quite liked a bit of Donald Trump. He was just a bit of a, oh look, it's Donald Trump doing another film cameo. He was in about 50,000 of them at the time.
Excuse me, where's the lobby?
Down the hall and to the left.
Thanks.
It grossed over $359 million worldwide, so not as successful, but still pretty damn good. But it did receive mixed reviews. It wasn't like, it wasn't as well received, but, it did all right. It's fine. One thing I did want to mention about Home Alone 2 was the tie-in product, the TalkBoy. Do you remember that?
No.
So originally conceived, remember in the film, Kevin's got that tape recorder thing.
Yeah.
So in the film, he sort of records things that people are saying, and then later on, he plays them back to his advantage and all this kind of stuff. It was created for the film by the company Tiger as like a cassette recorder and player prop for the film, but they were given permission by the movie studio to sell a retail version of the toy, and it released 2 cassette recorders modelled after the film prop in 92 and 93. And I remember as a kid, I hadn't seen the film, but for some reason, when I was about 8 or 9, you get the Argos catalogs, don't you? You get all those sort of things. And I remember seeing the TalkBoy in these magazines and just thinking, oh my God, what is that? It's amazing. And I always wanted one, never got one.
You're like, I want to use this to my advantage.
Yeah, but I didn't even know the context. I just love the idea of a thing that you can record your own voice in and then play it back instantly and then do funny effects with it and stuff. Never got one.
And now finally you have podcasts.
I now can do it.
You are living the dream.
Yeah, living the dream. I did, however, get a Yak Back, which was like a knockoff edition by another company, and it was pretty good. It was like about 4 or 5 years later, but yeah, there you go. But
oh yeah, what was it called? TalkBoy.
Yeah.
All your friends are like, hey, yeah, got the new TalkBoy for Christmas. Yeah, me too, TalkBoy. What do you got there, Eames? I got a Yak Back. It actually has better battery power. And
yeah, whatever. Yeah.
whatever, Eames. Yak Back. What a loser.
While while the product sold okay at the time, following the release of Home Alone 2 on home video in July the next year, or maybe even the year after that, because it does take a while for these films to come out, and a cross-promotion with Life cereal, interest in the toys spiked in America in particular, and retailers had severely underestimated demand. And as a result, the deluxe TalkBoy was one of the most highly sought-after toys during the '93 Christmas shopping season, selling out across stores everywhere. And then, sign of the times, they released a pink version of the cassette recorder called Deluxe Talk Girl in 1995. Couldn't get away with that anymore. No chance. Would you like to see a little commercial of the TalkBoy at the time?
Now you can be as clever as Kevin with Tiger's new TalkBoy tape recorder.
Stop drooling on me. Stop drooling on me.
It even has speed control.
Hi, kids. We're home early.
Hi, kids. We're home early.
Tiger's new TalkBoy tape recorder comes with audio cassette. Hiya, pal.
Look for Home Alone 2, available now on video.
Right, I remember that advert. I was watching it. Like, oh my god, I remember that. Yeah.
You wanted one as well.
That makes me so happy. Yeah, no, I was like, look at him getting up to japes. That looks incredible.
Yeah.
So in case you can't tell, there's like a little kid. He's getting up to scrapes, and I guess his like, older brother or older sister. They're there with their boyfriend, girlfriend, and they're kissing. And he records her saying, "Stop drooling on me" when the dog is slobbering on her, and then when the boyfriend tries to kiss her. But I like the bit when he's like, "Hey kids, we're home early," and then it's like speed control, as if your parents would go, "Hi kids, we're home early." It's like, do your parents sound like that? How bizarre if they do.
But yeah, always what one.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that advert. I was like, yes, I want to be that troublemaking little kid. Brilliant.
So this was followed by Home Alone 3. So from 1997, also written and directed by John Hughes, which I was surprised about. And also the last Home Alone film released to cinemas as well. It stars Alex D. Linz as Alex Pruitt.
There were lots of little bowl cut kids in the 90s.
Yeah.
Is he the kid from Liar Liar, or does he just look like him?
He just looks like him. So it's not Haley Joel Osment, and it's not the kid from Liar Liar. It's this kid.
And it's not Jake Lloyd.
No, yeah. Hang on, which one's Jake Lloyd? Is Jake Lloyd the one in Liar Liar?
No, Jake Lloyd is Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah. What else did he do? He must have done something. Oh no, Jake Lloyd was in Jingle All the Way. That's what I'm thinking of.
There you go. Festive.
And there was another kid who was this really annoying little kid that was in Volcano. Remember that? There was this really annoying bowl cut kid in that as well.
Apparently, Justin Cooper is the bowl cut kid in Liar Liar.
Oh, okay, right, fine. But this is another one. Alex D. Linz hadn't really done much else apart from this. So in this film, he plays Alex Pruitt, an 8-year-old child prodigy who defends his home from a dangerous band of criminals who work for a North Korean terrorist organization. So it's gone up a notch.
We should like that because they've amped up the danger.
Yeah. Well, that's what Christmas films need.
So the first two films we had, a pair of thieves. They were looking to rob the house. We feel like we need to, up our stakes slightly for the third one. North Korean terrorists?
Yeah, fuck
sold.
it. Home Alone 3 was actually pitched at the same time as Home Alone 2, and both films were meant to be produced simultaneously. However, those plans fell through. The idea for a third Home Alone movie was revived in the mid-90s. Early drafts called for Macaulay Culkin to return as a teenage Kevin. However, by 94, Culkin was no longer acting. So as a result, the idea was reworked and it's centered on brand new characters. Now, I have seen bits of this on TV over the years when it's been on, and oh my lord, it's not one of Hughes' best. But it did star a very young Scarlett Johansson, so there is at least that. So here's a trailer the third Home Alone film?
$10 million for the microchip, Mr. Beaupre.
We will find it.
Their mission is deadly.
Has to be on a plane. We are going to Chicago.
Their technology is state-of-the-art.
There are 26 miners in the 14 houses we haven't checked.
Their strategy is unheard of.
We're gonna work houses in broad daylight.
It's the suburbs. Nobody's home during the day.
They've got the perfect plan.
That's the house. Tomorrow we hit.
He's got the chicken pox.
What?
And he's home alone.
Nobody's gonna do anything about this. I'll just have to do it myself.
I'll go in the front.
Heads up! Ouch. Hi. Surprise.
I'm coming down.
From John Hughes, the writer and producer of Home Alone.
See ya.
This Christmas, staying home will become an adventure again. Home Alone 3.
Wait till you see what I do next.
Written by John Hughes, directed by Raja Gosnell.
Oh dear.
Well, I said directed by John Hughes. I was obviously lying about that, but apart from that, yeah, not the best.
And, Macaulay Culkin. I think one of the reasons Macaulay Culkin was a big child star was because it's hard to be genuinely sort of charismatic and entertaining as a child star and not be irksome and a little oik and annoying and nothing against what's he got, Alex D. Linz, but he's a little shit, isn't he? There's just something you just go, oh, I hope they get you. I hope these terrorists who are apparently from North Korea, but they're all white and appear more to be Russian, I think, or certainly European. I don't know, but not for me.
Also, it was the 90s thing of after a couple of films, just going instantly to espionage and terrorism and stuff. Like the beginning of that trailer felt like an episode of 24. And do you remember the all the Air Bud films? Towards the end, it was all about foiling some sort of terrorist / crime mafia bosses and stuff. It was just ridiculous. It only grossed 79 million worldwide and received negative reviews, obviously. Although I think Roger Ebert was high when he wrote this. He said it was fresh, very funny, and better than the first two.
I mean,
oh dear!
Should we always hold up Ebert as I
know, but that instantly ruins everything.
Let's stop citing Ebert. just. Do you know? I give that review 2 thumbs down.
But worst of all came next, Home Alone 4, Taking Back the House. This was a 2002 made-for-TV film, which was first aired on ABC in November 2002. The film had the audacity of bringing back several of the main characters from the first 2 films, including Kevin, but with all of the roles played by different actors. Not one actor returned, but all the same characters.
But like a remake or like a sequel, but all recast?
A bit of both. I don't really know if it's meant to be a sequel or a remake or what, but the plot revolves around Kevin trying to defend his future stepmother's house from his old nemesis Marv and sidekick wife Vera. So they've split up his parents. I don't know which ones, because it's his stepmother, so I don't know what that's about. And it's only Marv, but not Daniel Stern. I'd understand if you could only get Daniel Stern.
So you were like, okay, we can't get Pesci. So
yeah, but they couldn't get Stern. So what's the point?
Why? Do you think they thought they were going to get Stern and they demanded more money and they were like, shit?
Apparently it says here, Daniel Stern declined to play Marv, believing the script to be an insult to the original motion picture. So I reckon you're right. I reckon they were like, look, we're obviously not going to get Pesci, but Stern will do it. What else is he doing? Fuck it. What's he doing? Dilbert? Fuck him. And then even Stern was like, no, obviously not. This is shit.
What's he doing? Dilbert? Fuck him.
It doesn't make sense though, because in this, Kevin is meant to be 9, but he was 10 in Home Alone 2, which makes it technically in the canon takes place between the first 2 films. But in the third, it makes no sense.
Well, so it's Home Alone 1.5, but his parents are still together in Home Alone 2.
They're still together, and this is the first time he's meeting Harry and Marv again since they got. It's total nonsense. What are you doing? It's like it's set in a parallel universe where his parents broke up and he's 9 now and whatever. Oh my lord! Anyway, here's a trailer.
Oh, great.
New on DVD and video, Home Alone, taking back the house.
Here they come.
Hello, Marv.
Kevin's back.
Kevin?
In the biggest adventure of the year.
Awesome.
The house is bigger. The gadgets are slicker.
Door open.
Kevin's in charge, and the bad guys haven't learned a thing.
Hi, Mommy.
It's like he's stalking me.
Home Alone, taking back the house, today on DVD and video.
Ah, dear. Marv is played by French Stewart, star of Third Rock from the Sun.
That guy. I thought I recognised him. Yeah. Dreadful from start to finish. I mean, that just looks. What were they thinking? Even for a TV movie, like ABC, proper network. What are you doing? But would you believe it? That wasn't the last Home Alone film. Home Alone. Home Alone Holiday Heist. The film premiered on ABC Family in 2012. It was the second Home Alone film after Home Alone 3 not to focus on the McAllister family, so at least they did do that. But there were numerous homages to the previous films. But it also starred Malcolm McDowell, who just says yes to anything now, and Ed Asner turns up in the film.
Again?
So,
it's not Christmas unless we talk about Ed Asner. Oh.
Here we go.
A toast to Ed Asner. Merry Christmas.
ABC Spark brings you all new family fun.
This is totally cool.
A world premiere movie event. New bad guys and a new hero.
The only thing to be afraid of in this house is me.
Home Alone, The Holiday Heist. Premieres Sunday at 8. Only on ABC Spark.
I didn't know that had happened, and I wish I still didn't know.
Well, that's not the end of the Home Alone franchise, because in August 2019, following the acquisition of 21st Century Fox by Disney, Disney CEO Bob Iger announced that a new Home Alone film is in development and would premiere on the company's streaming service, Disney+. The plot is said to centre around a boy who faces off against a married couple after he steals something of theirs.
Well, that makes it sound like he deserves it.
Yeah. Yeah. Kevin never stole anything. He was just, he stole that toothbrush from the shop, but that was by accident. In December 2019, Archie Yates, Rob Delaney, and Ellie Kemper were cast in the film. So that sounds good.
That's pretty good.
In February 2020, it was announced that the characters, or some characters from the first two films, including Kevin, Harry, Marv, and Buzz, would be making appearances in the film, with Macaulay Culkin reprising his role as Kevin, which is amazing. By March 2020, the Walt Disney Company paused production on all their live-action films, including the Home Alone reboot, which had begun filming in Canada due to coronavirus. So, hopefully, maybe next Christmas, we could get a proper Home Alone film again.
What we want is one of those sequels they do nowadays where they go, this is the proper one.
Yeah, forget those ones.
One and two count. We'll see how we feel about 2. Yeah, if we're feeling generous, we'll include 2. 1 definitely, and this is brilliant. Bring back Culkin.
Shoehorn a way of making him be in the film. Be great. But that is about it. So thoughts on Home Alone and its franchise?
Love the film, hate the franchise. It's basically how I'm feeling. I'm feeling festive, but I'm not feeling too charitable. No, the first one is an all-time Christmas classic, no question. The second, bit more divisive. I have a soft spot for it. You're right, it is just the first film done all over again. But
Die Hard 2. Yeah.
But it also gave us the TalkBoy, or in your case, the Yak Back. So for that, I'll be forever grateful. And let's just pretend the rest didn't happen. It's a bit like Christmas, where you're like, the build-up's great, the first hour or so is great, and then it kind of, devolves, and you go, let's just pretend the rest didn't happen. Let's pretend the rest didn't happen.
Well, for more drunken ramblings about pop culture, head to twogeeks2beers.com, where you can find all our previous episodes, including previous festive editions. So you had episode 15, The 12 Days of Geekmas, about weird Christmas TV specials. And then you got episode 25, Festive Fright Fest, all about Christmas horror films. Episode 36, Ranking the Scrooges. And episode 49, Ranking the Santas. And of course, episode 60, Is It a Christmas Movie? Where we take some festive favourites, or are they? Who knows? You have to listen to find out. So you can download, stream, and subscribe there, or on all your favourite podcast providers. Plus, head to YouTube, where you can listen to previous episodes in full, if you prefer such a thing.
Yes, indeed. Also, you should follow us on all social media platforms. That includes Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Two Geeks Cast on all of those. We're also on Patreon, where you can just give us a little bit of cash, all of which goes directly back into funding, producing this podcast, advertising. You get all kinds of great stuff if you do it. You get early access to the episodes. You get to hear them before anyone else. You get to hear special little mini episodes that we only put up on Patreon. Bloopers. If you give enough, we'll even record you a mini episode, all of your own, just for you, little Christmas treat for you, or even a full-length episode just for you. And now, again, it's this time of year. We're feeling charitable. We're feeling festive. Merch, Two Geeks, Two Beers, all kinds of new merch, right, Tom?
Yeah, there's an official Two Geeks T-shirt and an official Two Geeks mug. I don't know what more you could possibly ask for, but yeah. And also, for not much at all, you get a Two Geeks coaster for all your beer needs. So what more could you possibly want?
Come on, you can get that for yourself, or get it for a friend, a family member, for Christmas. It's the perfect Christmas gift.
Exactly. So that's patreon.com/2geekscast. And if you want to get in touch, please do, which is podcast@twogeeks2beers.com. So we'll leave you with a fantastic 80s synth pop cover of Somewhere in My Memories by John Williams by Amy Waters. And I think it's already a brilliant piece of music, but this piece of music just sums up the Two Geeks vibe. So there we go. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
And Happy New Year.
Something I'm not so pleased with about the making of Home Alone. Many of the shots that focus on Kevin in the beginning of the film are filmed from above his head, it said, making him seem small and helpless, it says here. And at the end of the film, Kevin is mostly shot from below, making him seem taller and more confident. So, okay, fine, we'll let that one slide. But also, it says here on IMDb, Macaulay Culkin's stunt double was a very short 30-year-old man. That's all it says.
See, Tom, you've always felt like the odds are stacked against you in life, but one day you too could be the stunt double for an 8-year-old.
But no citation there, just a very short 30-year-old man. What's his name? Give him a name check at the very least. Christ. Anyway.
All you need to know about him is that he was very short.
Merry bloody Christmas.